Hello, and welcome to our Infinite Summer 2023 main event panel. This is our State of Gaming discussion panel. I couldn't be more excited for this one as we get to talk about gaming with three amazing content creators that we at Game Infinite are big fans of. Starting first, here we have Nick. You know him as Nico R2. He is an artist, puts out amazing content, and cool fact, Nick also is the designer of our Infinite Girl mascot. So thank you for coming, Nick. Moving down, we also have Brandy. You know her maybe as XX Brandy or Slay with Brandy. Brandy is awesome. She's been a GI Friends member for a long time. Back for like one of the first waves, like you've stuck with us for a long time, putting up with our antics, and we've enjoyed liking and sharing and just supporting our content best we can. She is a streamer and cosplayer, puts out amazing content. Thank you here for having Brandy. And then, of course, you might recognize Eric, who we just had in our developer interview, talking about his game LUCID. That game looks fantastic. Definitely go back and watch that developer interview. We're really excited about that one. So thank you guys for coming. Nick, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll give you all a chance to introduce yourself to our audience, and we'll get into our main discussion panel.
Hi, great intro. Yeah, I'm Nick. This is the right chance to tell you that I'm from Colombia, so my English might not be the best. But I'm a digital artist. I'm a professional animator, but mostly I do illustrations of characters, fan art, everything else, and I post them on Instagram and other social media. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Brandy, tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, I'm Brandy. I am a full-time streamer, content creator, YouTuber, model, you name it, I probably do it. I love being artistic and creative, so every avenue that I can dive into and get an opportunity to make things and produce stuff, I love doing. I've been cosplaying for a bit over 10 years, streaming for around 8, and I am so grateful that I am part of this industry and I get to meet such individuals like you guys that are so incredible, and especially getting to meet you guys that are like behind the scenes for all the games that I play and the characters that I love to bring to life with my cosplays. It's really exciting to be here, so thank you for that.
So thank you for being here and for sharing, Brandy. Eric, tell us a little bit about who you are and what's going on with you over there.
Well, hi, I'm Eric. I'm the developer of Lucid. I'm an ex-architect and like a full-time imposter syndrome game dev. But really excited to be here and be with my fellow panelists. But really looking forward to this.
Imposter syndrome. You mean the CEO, lead executive developer of Lucid, correct? Right.
That's what a little plastic like Chase bank card says, and I still don't believe. I don't believe it.
I love it whenever I work with or talk to or interview solo devs, and they always say, "Yeah, I'm a developer," and I'm like, "You're the lead developer." Like I joke with them a little bit because they don't like, because when you're a one man team, I understand how it's
Yeah.
weird. Like there was a little while when I lost 2 or 3 of my mods who had to go on to other things, got new jobs, whatever, and it was Game Infinite was back to just being me again. And it's weird typing in the collective person when you no longer are a we. But I'm not Game Infinite. Game Infinite's a platform, but I'm the only one working here anymore. So like there was like a couple months where it was like we, but it was just me. And then I was just like, I need to get more mods, so it's back to being true again. So I can understand that weirdness of being a solo creator.
Yeah, it's really hard to say I'm a CEO right now because I'm literally not wearing pants right now. So take that as you will.
I mean, who does wear pants on Zoom, right? That's the benefit of Zoom, is you don't have to, right?
I'll never go back. You can't make me.
Awesome. Well, for those of you watching, so what is State of Gaming? We did this one time last year during last year's Infinite Summer 23, where we interviewed 2 other creators in the gaming industry, and I'm really excited to have you guys coming for this year's. And State of Gaming is, we're just going to be talking about the gaming industry as a whole. We're going to be talking about a couple things. We're going to be talking about content creation in general, as we have the diversity of thought of content creators here. Everything from fan art, development, streaming, and cosplay, all representative here in our panelists. So I'm really excited about that. So we're going to be talking about content creation. We're going to be diving into games that we're excited about that we've been playing for 2023, upcoming titles that we're excited about, especially just coming off all the major keynotes and showcases that have been out during summer. We're talking about games that we're looking forward to. and a few other cool topics. So let's just dive into it. Let's get to this. So first question's a big one. So we're going to be talking about a couple of things: content creation, high level. The big question is, what does it mean to be a content creator to you guys? Tell us a little bit more about what goes into making your type of content, and how do you stay motivated, come up with new ideas, and also how does gaming inspire you? So this is a question that has a lot of facets to it, so you can kind of pick and choose how you want to attack that. And whoever wants to go first will just dialogue a little bit about your part of the gaming world and what goes into it. Who'd like to go first?
I
That's
guess
awesome.
I can start if
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you,
if
Brandon.
that works. I would say being a content creator, like the concept of it has changed over time. Because like when I first started making cosplays and streaming, I didn't think of it as like I'm gonna be a full-time content creator. That's gonna be my job. Like I used to be a high school teacher. Like so I kind of just used gaming and cosplaying as an outlet outside of my everyday life of like I get to be a nerd and not be judged in this sphere. So that was what that meant to me. And it turned into a career over time as obviously technology improved. This became more widely accepted in society and more understood, and this industry like skyrocketed. So being a content creator, it's still such a foreign term of saying like that's my job, because it's really I get to be a nerd and I get to express myself. Now I just get paid to do it, you know? So that's kind of how that is. But in terms of like the type of content, obviously I cosplay, I model, I stream, I do YouTube. So I really just love to do everything. And I am a workaholic at heart. So anything I can dive into and just keep my mind active is like something I really enjoy. So if I find a new interest or a new hobby, I'm like, how can I implement this into one of the facets I'm already exploring or that I'm already doing? And that is, I guess, falls into the next part of this of how I stay motivated. I'm like always looking for the next thing that keeps me interested and how that can continue to like push my career in this industry. So if I ever get, I don't know, burned out on one part, I'm like, okay, I'm going to delve my attention into this other area or this new costume. Or if I'm getting burned out on cosplay, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus more on YouTube right now and do that. So I kind of bounce between which platforms necessarily are like my primary focus, which helps me to not like, I guess, tune into something too much to the point where I'm like, I don't even want to look at this anymore. Like, I don't want to get to that point because then this feels like work again and it's no longer enjoyable. So I kind of, I kind of juggle too much sometimes, but at the same time, that's what works for me and in terms of content creating overall. So yeah, I think that
That's
answers
awesome.
most of it.
No, I really appreciate that. And I actually resonate with the point you made about giving yourself some manufactured diversity of what you do. I find that personally very helpful because Game Infinite does a lot of different things too. We support very different types of content creation, and we put out original content ourselves. So, you know, if I'm editing videos too long, I take a break and do writing. I write articles or editing this or just doing creator support. A big part of what we do is just like sharing, liking, commenting, between all this other stuff. So giving yourself kind of like 4 or 5 different types of things to alternate behind can help keep it fresh. So I really like that advice. That's definitely something that I think other people should like hear, because if you just keep doing the same thing, that can help. And I'm sure the other two of you would agree. Sometimes you need to take a break from one thing and go to his other. That keeping it fresh is how you stay motivated. Thoughts on this question from either of the other two of you guys?
Well, on my side, being an artist, an independent artist, can be a little tough because there's high competition on it. And in this day and age, with the advent of AI content, that's another obstacle that we have to toggle. But I have a great experience with people. They have shown a lot of support. They want to support, I don't want to say it like this, but real artists, not just generated images. And that's great to see all the support you get from people. On the side of being creative, it's really hard because when you just focus on drawing, being creative means you have to try many things on techniques, on poses, characters. So I'm always looking for stuff to do and not get burned out by drawing the same thing or focusing on the same way I always do things. So it's really fun to experiment, but it can be a little bit hard when you don't know exactly what you want to achieve on that sense. But being an independent artist has been great. It really is a fun way to live.
Yeah, no, I definitely have had that conversation with artists, especially nowadays, where this is a type of content creation that that outlet that's being specifically targeted by new technologies, and it's actually become an issue that where we have to like take a look at it. As like, as Game Infinite, we support all these artists across the different channels and putting out content, and we're like, how do we handle that when we're trying to find stuff because it's not always labeled properly? And there's been a few where it's like, is this AI? Or it's like it's definitely creating dialogue on like how do content creators who aren't artists support our fellow artists in this post AI world. That wasn't a topic of that I had thought would, I mean, I thought it might come up, as it's definitely state of gaming right now. Is AI is becoming part of everything. It's getting into our games. We're seeing AI like you being used for writing content for games, and on the artistic side of things. What from your perspective, what do you think to those watching who aren't artists, who support artists like we do, who are fans of artists? Like, what can we do to help support our artists in this post AI world? What is your opinion on that?
I don't think AI is the problem. I think the problem is the way we use them. I think it's just another tool we can use to help ourselves. But like you said, Ubisoft cannot wait to make things cheaper with it. And we all know it's gonna blow in their faces. So that's not the way to use it. It should be a complement to how they write stuff, to how they do certain things. And I think that applies to art too. Hopefully we find the perfect balance in it, but I think it's too early to know for certain how it will pan out eventually.
That's a very healthy perspective. I think I agree. It's anytime a new tool comes out, it's important to understand that tools are just tools. We need to learn to use them ethically and right. And we don't want to like take things away from people, but we don't necessarily need to be fearful of tools. It's all in balance. Thank you for sharing. Eric, a little bit, do you have any thoughts on this question in general about content creation? What does it go like? I would love to hear it from an indie developer's perspective.
Yeah, this I saw this earlier and I was like, it kind of threw me for a second because I barely consider myself like a content creator, and I thought about it and I was like, oh shit, yeah, I do make content. Oh my God. But yeah, it's kind of like there's like two sectors of what I make, if you call it content, and it's kind of like one being like a devlog, and like it follows the journey of my development of Lucid, and just snapshots of the portfolio and mechanics. And then on the other side, there's like, or in the Lucid Discord is a place where I get to have more, I guess, intimate and more I can be more silly or just sillier there, and post things that aren't just so strictly curated. So it's nice to have, like we were talking about before, everyone likes being able to ping to different sectors, not to get tied down and bored. And that also applies to game dev, where if I'm struggling with coding and I'll take a break, I'll do pixel art. If I'm getting burnt out pushing pixels, I'll work on story. Or burnt out on story, I'll think of some fun new game mechanics. And it's just really nice to be able to have this like Venn diagram, just to, like, go wherever you want. So when it comes to content creation, I try to take every facet of that diagram and try to somehow give it like a window into the process that I do making Lucid. So yeah, that's my content creation. If
I
that's
mean,
what you
you're
want to
also
call it.
making a game. I mean, that counts too. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's just like little
that little
piecemeals. Like,
thing.
yeah, when it's all done, then it's like, and here's my content. There you go. But until then, it's all like these tiny little windows into what goes into making it, I suppose.
It's long form content creation. It might take years to produce the one thing, but that one thing is huge and
Yeah,
it'll be amazing. So
yeah. And then
Yeah.
I love that for everyone's for Nico's art, for Brandy's like cosplay and everyone's art, it's like you make it and then like all art, it like no longer becomes yours, and then people can make art from your art. Like I don't know, I'm sure Game Infinite I would love for you guys to do a review of Lucid when it comes out, and then you're making
Oh
content
yeah.
for my content, and it's just this lovely cycle of ecosystem. I love it.
I want to touch on that part right there because that honestly, you just touched on something that is one of my favorite things about doing all of this, and why we purposely don't like niche ourselves down to certain things. Like we don't only like there's other pages that I know that only support streamers, or other pages that focus entirely, they're just artistic pages. And like people have asked me like, why do you do all of these different things? Because we save niche for the channels, and we have channels that are niche, but Game Infinite is always this thing that supports all different types of content creators because of the reason you just said. Because one of my dreams of this is, if I have all these developers, eventually they're going to need people to play their games, and I'll already have a list of streamers that I know. And I've already started to do some of those things where like I had one developer give me a couple codes, and I was like, okay, and I gave them out to a couple streamers that I knew. Was like, hey, do you want a game to play? You can play this game, and we can. And when games come out, maybe you want to start to build a fan artist community of like,
Yep.
it fan art doesn't hit the indie. There's not a lot of overlap there,
No.
and like trying to bring that Venn diagram a little closer to one circle as best as we can. So like having lists of different people. So like when a developer puts out their game, I'm like, all right, well, I know 20 streamers that will be willing to play it or something like that. That's why I like doing this. I like, because I know how these different types of content creation fit together and how we can help each other. And to your point, like I need games to play, to write about and upload gameplay and that type of stuff. So the stuff that we put out ourselves. But yeah, that's honestly why I like doing this, because all these different sectors of creator support can overlap in surprising ways.
What's that expression? Like rising tides lifts all ships, or something like that. Or like if everyone's boosting each other up, everyone's just gonna do better.
Brandy, I know you're really big on collabs, and you are always playing new games and all this types of stuff. You've been one of our long-term supporters. You've been supporting us since we were even tinier than we are now. So like, what are your thoughts on like how you network and overlap and work with other creators?
It's like extremely crucial. I feel like for all of us here speaking, like for whatever avenue you're in, you want to make those connections, whether it's within your niche or even outside. Because just as you were saying, like if a new game comes out and they approach me like, oh, I want you to play this game, I want you to show, I am now showing my whole community. They're getting all of that. And then if they want in person, I go to conventions. I've had people be like, oh, would you want to cosplay from our game? You can stand at our booth, draw in traction. So I've had things like that before, where like I've done cosplays for more smaller companies and things of that nature. And I've worked with like I guess the developer and the people behind the scenes, but then within my own industry, I guess, of streaming, I've done so many collabs with fellow creators, and I've done so many collabs with fellow artists and things like that. And I always tell people how important it is. You want to collab within like your circle, but then I always tell people you want to collab outside of your sphere of like influence, because if you're only working with the people you already know, you're not getting those outside people to see whatever it is that you're trying to show others. You're just showing your stuff to people that probably are already aware of your stuff and have already formed an opinion of whether or not they want to check out whatever it is you're doing. So I always tell people, I'm like, as scary as it can be to reach out to people that you're not familiar with, or people you don't know, you have no idea who they are, you got to shoot your shot for those connections, because those are the ones that are going to quote unquote pay off in the long run. And I've had, especially in person, like the amount of sponsorships or partnerships and things that I have gotten just by going up to booths and having in-person conversations with people, as incredibly nerve-wracking as it is, those are the ones that like you get things done when you do that, and when you put yourself out there for the opportunity of working with other people, especially outside of your sphere, which can be really intimidating but also really rewarding.
I 110% agree with that need to step outside your comfort zone, you know, shoot your shot, as you say, to approach these new creators or these other companies. And like, because I've gone to cons and it's definitely, man, it's like, it's kind of scary to walk up to
It's
that development
tough.
team
It
for the first
is.
time, or that other company, and or just you know, sending that DM for the first time. Because there's been a few times where I send a creator a message where I'm just like, they're not going to want to work with us. They're too big. They don't need my help. Like whatever. And just that kind of, you have to push that self doubt, especially when you're just, you know, being nice. You're not trying to like in this case, like I'm approaching, like if we're approaching, say, a cosplayer, and we're like, they're huge, they're really popular. It's like they don't really need our help, but it's like, hey, we'd love to support you with this. Can we help you with this thing or that thing? And it's you know, people are going. There's going to be people who ignore you. There's going to be people who aren't interested in collaborating and working together. But when people do, and it's just really cool, validating, because some people are just, they're real people too, and they love it when you come to them and they're like, oh yeah, I'd love to work with you. And when you're approaching a company that has cool stuff and you're trying to build like affiliates, if you're looking for affiliates or sponsors, like that would be my advice as well, is just, you know, the worst thing people can say or no. And just if you're being polite and professional and you're just trying to make connections with people, reaching out, and there's going to be people who will answer you back. It's like, yeah, I'd love to work with you. We'd love to partner up, or it's cool. And it's also good to get feedback too, where like, you know, if you are a content creator of any kind and you're trying to make connections and work with people, to be open, it can give you good feedback. Like, okay, well, if you improve this stat or do that thing, it doesn't have to be a negative. Like sometimes it's helpful to get an outsider to tell you where they want to see you grow before they're ready to take, like, it can all be very constructive too. So it's definitely, I really agree with that, because like I'm a little more introverted in person, so like trying to like meet people at cons, I can definitely see how that can be scary for a lot of people. And it's hard, especially when you're positioning your baby, your content that you make. There's that fear of like, please don't hate the thing that I've made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
I always tell people too, I'm like, when you're talking to someone and you're pitching yourself, you need to, you yourself, believe that you are the coolest person ever. Because if you sell that, they're going to believe it too. So I always tell people, I'm like, think of what your buzzwords are that you want to use. If you're partnered with anything, tell them that. Like, if you like have worked with bigger companies, tell them that. Like, I just was at PAX East a couple months ago, and I recently partnered with Hot Topic, which has nothing to do with PAX East or video gaming. But the amount of companies I said that, and they were like, oh, I know that thing. That, you know, it immediately was like, okay, I have their attention, and then you can do whatever. And of course, it's extremely nerve-wracking to put yourself out there. But at the end of the day, if it goes bad, you probably will never see that person again. So, you know what? Go for it.
You miss every shot you don't take.
Exactly.
That right there. That is that's actually one of my favorite quotes, because it's something that I need to tell myself every time I'm kind of nervous to approach a company or trying to, because Game Infinite is like 80% about building connections and finding, because we actually reshare and repost and feature more content from others in content creator support than we put out original content. So like that's a big part of it, is that building this network of friends. You that's exactly it. You have to, and I 100% agree. This is a really cool topic that I feel like I could talk about all day with the rest of y'all. But if there are no additional thoughts,
I have one extra thought actually. So,
please.
Even for anyone who's watching that isn't a content creator right now, it goes the same for you to reach out to people that you do look up to, because I did it, and it's what put me on this whole path. I reached out to the developer of Iconoclast, like 2012. I just sent him an email, and he responded, and it like gave me so much information and push to go do this. And on top of that, I get my own emails with people. They're like, I'm nervous to email you. I'm like, please don't. I'm just a person, and I love talking about this with anyone. Anyone that gives me the time of day to talk about it, like, I'll do it. So please don't be afraid to reach out to the people you look up to.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, when I started, I loved seeing cosplays and cosplayers, and I never had the guts to speak to any of them. And for some reason, I just wrote one of the cosplayers that I admire, and that blew into a working relationship. And now I work with various cosplayers, so it has become a great thing for me. So put yourself out there. You know what can happen.
You guys are absolutely right. It's amazing what doors can open if you just knock enough times and making those professional friends. And I agree. Any other thoughts before we move on? Awesome. I love the dialogue. Those are all great thoughts. You guys, I think you've said everything amazing on that topic. I do want to shift gears a little bit to the second half of our State of Gaming panels. We're going to be talking about the gaming industry a little bit, shifting gears from content creation a little bit to gaming in 2023 and a little bit about the future. So this section where we talk a little bit about what games are keeping you occupied in 2023. Is there a new game this year that you've enjoyed so far, your best game of the year? And if not, what is a game maybe from a previous year that keeps you coming back? Is there an ongoing game that's a big part of your 2023? And maybe how does that impact your content creation? Is it having an impact at all? Eric, let's start with you.
Sounds good. So the very honest answer is it's Lucid. I thought I would be able to play more games as a game designer, and I just have even less time. But I play Lucid a lot, like a lot. But aside from that, I played a lot of Dredge. I think it was called Dredge.
Oh, I've heard of that. I've heard that's a big one.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Dredge, and at first it was with my buddy, and he was like, "I want to play this boat game." I'm like, that's dumb. And then 40 hours later, I'm like, "Give me the sticks." I can't put the sticks down. It was so addicting. So that was like a sleeper hit for me. And then also, I never played Resident Evil 4, so playing the remake was a treat. And going back to that 90s camp was like, oh, chef's kiss. It was really satisfying. So I wish I had a better answer, but that's all I got for you, buddy.
I love the answer where we have a developer in the group and they're like, "What's the best game of 2023 so far?" And he's like, "Mine." No.
It's all I play.
That's the best answer. No, I agree with you on Resident Evil 4. I never played the original either, and I've been really enjoying it. I haven't finished it yet because I have like 20 games that I'm trying to play at once. And then I also picked up one that I already finished a couple years ago that they added that I'm playing again for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel guilty playing it because I'm like, I have all these unfinished new games. I also want to play this other game. So I definitely second Resident Evil 4. That is probably the best game I played this year so far. It's unfortunate that it won't qualify for our top 10 list because it's like a remaster remake, and we don't typically put those on there. We have a separate list for that. So my ongoing / remake list is really long already, and my new game list for the year it's going to be hard to get 10 on there at this rate. But
to your point, I might be messing up the timeline, but I think all the games that I did play that I really enjoyed were Metroid Prime remastered, Dead Space remastered, and Resident Evil 4 remastered. And I was like, these are all amazing.
This year is the year of remasters. It's so weird where it's like it's
They're
actually
so good.
They're so good.
It is good. It's just this is the first year where because throughout the year I build our top 10 list as like the gaming journalist side of Game Infinite. And we a couple years ago, I created like the ongoing / remaster list, like to celebrate past games. That list is like more than half full, and I have like 2 games on my top 10 list so far. So it's like, it's weird. It's the first year that's happened. Nick, let's go off to you. What's your best game of the year so far?
Well, my answer to that is that the best year for this, the best game for this year hasn't come out for me yet, which is Final Fantasy 16. 1 week away. But I've been playing a lot. The year started with Fire Emblem Engage, then I played the remake of Dead Space. I think I move on to Octopath Traveler 2, then Resident Evil 4. I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4 too. So, and of course, Zelda. Zelda is a huge highlight of the last few months. So it's really hard to choose because I think this is one of the best years in gaming overall. But I'm really hopeful for Final Fantasy 16. The demo is just amazing, and I cannot wait to play it fully.
No, I guess in hindsight, I should preface my point that I feel like not enough good games have come out because I haven't finished some of the ones that'll probably end up in that list. So like I have not even started Zelda.
Yep.
And also I haven't even finished Resident Evil 4, and that's like 3 months in. So it's one of those things where like there have been some good ones. And there's also been some bumps in the road with I've probably mentioned Jedi Survivor in every video that I've made so far for Infinite 23. I brought it up in your interview. I don't bring it up again. I don't care. I'm mad about it, okay? It was garbage, and after 10 hours it deleted all of my save data. I'm mad.
So peeved.
I don't understand how our previous game of the year sequel is now just okay. I'm not gonna. This is gonna turn into a video about Jedi Survivor.
The game is good, right? Like the only bad aspect.
I don't know. I
issues.
haven't been able to play most of it because it deleted my save data for no reason. And the first few hours of it were
I haven't played it though.
to watch cutscenes on YouTube. That's how bad it was, because it would crash on every cutscene. So I'm just mad that. Yeah,
I have an idea for a game Infinite supercut of just all your rants on this topic, just super spliced.
Yeah,
I should just make an hour-long rant about this and call it a review.
10 hours of Jesse ranting.
Enough about me. Okay, Brand, you're next.
So I'm actually gonna bring up a couple of games we haven't mentioned. I know we've talked about like Diablo, which I'm excited for. I haven't got a chance to play it. Zelda, I haven't got a chance to play. Resident Evil, I played. I loved it. I played the original, like Leon. Anyways, it was so good. Also give me plenty of opportunities to cosplay during streams, so that was amazing. And but I'm probably gonna change this answer because there's a lot of games I'm looking forward to. But my favorite outside of Resident Evil right now is probably Dead Island 2. I might be biased in that I was unhealthily obsessed with the first one, and I've been waiting like 15 years for this game. So I've had like a lot of pent-up frustration about how long that game has taken. Honestly, it just was like such a good healthy mix of nostalgia and then like blood and gore, and they like upped all of the intensity of the first game, and they completely wiped Riptide from my memory, which is wonderful. So they did a fantastic job with that, and I found myself also really loving just exploring. I feel like there hasn't been many games lately that I've played where I finished the storyline and then I was like, I still want to play this game and explore. I feel like I've been streamlining so many, like even like I'll probably get hate for it, but like Ragnarok, I know it was like this huge thing, and I couldn't wait for it to be finished because the pacing was god awful. And but
I'm with you. I agree.
You feel that
yeah,
way?
it's
Okay,
just they have
just
become
me.
so big.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, when I've
tired.
already delved like 40 hours into just straight story, I'm kind of over this story. Like, and I feel like Dead Island, they were good with like the story was like 10-ish hours, give or take. And then I was like, I want to explore. I want to check out, like, I found a creator house in LA that you could go into, and they had like a mic and a camera set up, and there was like a whiteboard with like a written apology on there for like YouTube apology videos that people make. And I was like, this is amazing. I love these like random Easter eggs that they threw in here, because this is crap that would be in LA most likely in like a big mansion house.
Did it start off with sorry, Nico.
No, you go first.
Did it start off with a big exhale and then stare at the camera?
It did. It was so good. It had all of like the in-betweens of like how to. I was like, I wouldn't have found this if I wasn't just randomly exploring, because it wasn't part of like any of the story like lines of the game. And I was just like, this is so much fun. So for me currently, that's probably my top, if we're not going off of like remasters, if we're just going off of new games, that one. Or I really liked Outlast Trials, and I've been playing a lot of that. It is, I would say, tough to watch and play because it is very graphic in sexual nature and very gory. Like there are lots of flying body parts all over the place, as like so when I'm streaming it, I'm like, I have to kind of censor things because everybody's naked in this game. But it is so much fun, and it's so much fun because you can play with other people. So like literally my first interaction on the game, I didn't know anybody who had played it because I got like an early access code, so like only people who had got accepted had the game. So I was like, I'll see who's in this lobby, I guess. And I queued up with 3 random people. They were like the coolest dudes ever. Like we were just like all working together, and it was so much fun. Even though the game nature is like everyone was like screaming and panicking. It was hilarious. And it's still like in early development, so there's still more to come out from it. So I'm looking forward to whatever comes from there. But those are probably like my favorite things right now, aside from like everything that's speculated to come in 2023 that I don't know if it will. Like I from the recent like stuff that they showed, that game, what was it, like Clockwork something or whatever, I can't remember. It looked like BioShock Infinite. And I was like, this looks so cool, because BioShock's like my favorite series of all time. So I was like, I'll take anything like that. And then going off that, the game Judas, which is this from Ken Levine's new company, that's coming out supposedly later this year. So I'm like, I'll take more of this, please. So my favorite game of the year is definitely subject to change, because there's so much coming.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to add something to the idea of exploration. One of the reasons I'm really excited for Final Fantasy 16 is it is not an open world. And that's so refreshing.
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
just tired of that genre already. I just
feel
need
you.
a really contained experience with, I don't know, 30 hours of good quality that really feel meaningful.
Yeah, it's really hard to do open world right. You miss the mark pretty easily.
Ubisoft is the proof of it.
I feel like the only times I really love open world is if I already love the game as it is, because then I'm like, oh, now I have all this bonus.
Yeah, there's a mechanic there that you just want to keep experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Open worlds are so interesting because you can have like a Nico, like you said, like you can have a curated intended path, and then Brandy, to your point, then like it's so good, I want to branch out and explore. Or you can do what Breath of the Wild does, and they have this really interesting like blend of the two. I don't know if you guys have caught the developer behind the scenes of how they started out with their first map and they tracked players, their paths, and it was very linear. And then they tweaked some stuff, and eventually they got it to where it like was a beautiful spread, and like everyone kept going. But they did a very unique way of like curated meets completely just off the cuff, and it's really difficult. I've only really seen Breath of the Wild do that.
Yeah, it's player's choice. You make your own fun, and that worked really good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the point on the open world. I feel like it's not that it's necessarily always done poorly. It can be done well and still just be too much. And it kind of circles back to the point you made earlier about Ragnarok, about even though it was our game of the year, and I still think the game was fantastic. If I had to give it a criticism, is that I do feel like it was too long.
It was like 2 games in one there.
Like,
it was huge.
Yeah,
it was so long.
Gets longer.
Yeah.
The first like 10, 15 hours of the game, not much actually narratively happens. So I definitely feel like there was some editing that could have been done. So I agree with that, because that can happen to open world, is that it's not that it's being done poorly, like it's like, because there's poor examples of it, like it's too empty or there's just not enough to do. But like even if it is jam packed and filled with things, it can be too much, and the game can feel unfocused and feel too long. And I definitely feel like we need more games that feel more edited, more close. Like I really feel like once you start going past a certain hour count, then especially if it's the main story, like when a 100-hour main story game comes out, it's just like, who? Because I think what that does is it actually contributes to just gamers experiencing unfinished stories. I'd rather have a 12-hour complete story rather than experience 12 hours of a 40-hour story. So like, yeah, I definitely agree with all that being said. I think the point you were making was a perfect transition to the next question, which was the upcoming titles. We've already touched on that a little bit, but let's officially segue into that, about like upcoming titles that you are officially excited about. Anything that maybe was recently announced during the Summer Games Fest or anything like that, or just something that we've known about for a while.
I actually know mine on this one. It's I at first I was like sort of interested, and out of like some seemingly nowhere I'm like really excited. But the Armor Core 6 something like I think that latest Fati video really made me like salivate and oh boy, am I excited for that game. Because I've been a FromSoft like a junkie since like I don't know 2012 or something, whenever the Souls came out way back when, and seeing them applying the Dark Souls like and Sekiro kind of, I don't want to say formula, but like the DNA of that and then putting it into like a mech builder. And I grew up on Gundam Wing on Adult Swim, like
Yeah, no, and
way
they
back.
became giant, like
Yeah,
a very niche studio.
huge.
So
Yeah.
it's great. I love their games. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
a great choice. I agree.
So just so excited to see like everything almost every project they do. It's like they don't just churn out the next one. They always do something new, and they really think about their decisions, and it's never like half-assed, or it never feels half-assed. So that's my most anticipated game for sure.
My only question I have for Armored Core 6, because I could be very excited about this, because this is on the surface a very, very Jesse game.
Oh.
Anything sci-fi with robots, I mean, it's like taking me now.
Yes, please.
but my only question is going to be, being that it's from software, I'm going to be like, is it going to be insanely difficult, or like is it going to take 40 hours to get past the first mission?
I don't
Like
think
that's
so.
what
I
I
don't
want to
think
know.
so.
I just can't believe it's been 12 years and you still have not gotten good. So that's really on you. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's not even about that. It's about, it's like it's not that I don't, it's one of those things where like they need to pick one. These games are either they're incredible, you can be incredibly long, there can be incredibly numerous where I have 12 I need to play, or they can be difficult. And it's like if I need to play 12 and they're all 100 hours, the game that takes like 3 hours to beat the first boss, it's like, no, stop it. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, especially I was talking earlier, I have no time to play, but for whatever reason, like when Elden Ring came out, I was just like you said, it took me like what 3 hours to beat the first boss, but I was like, thank you, sir, may I have another? It was
Yeah.
masochistic.
May I have another, please?
Oh, Eric's been a bad boy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Um, any other upcoming titles?
Probably not a game that literally anybody else is excited for, but I'm looking forward to the Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life, which is the Harvest Moon remake from the GameCube
Oh,
game,
yeah.
which is my all-time favorite Harvest Moon game. And like one of my first cosplays was the main character from that game.
Oh my God.
So I am so excited to dive back into my childhood with that game later this month. So that's something I'm like really, not to mention if you pre-order it, you get a cute goat plushie. So like they already sold me there. I was like, dang it, I'm in.
Wow, you're informing me. I didn't know this was happening, and I too
Yes.
I was a huge Harvest Moon fan. I love it. So this
Nobody
is exciting.
knows because they had to change
Yeah.
the title. So a lot of people aren't even aware now that it's under
Mhm.
Story of Seasons. But yeah,
Mhm.
June 27th.
Thank
Oh,
you.
nice.
Thank you. Write that down. Like
Uh,
literally the like antithesis of a FromSoft game.
yeah.
So good.
Total opposite.
That's why I was like, this is not at all what we're talking about, but Harvest Moon.
But
It's
equal
just
love.
chilling.
Yeah, so chill.
Oh, it's so so
Are
nice.
they I know nothing about this. Is the art style like revamped or harkening back similar to the original? Or is
It,
it like completely new?
from what I've seen, it looks very similar.
Ooh.
So it looks like they're trying to just reamp what they originally did, not like totally brand new. I
Cool.
would say maybe semi along the lines of like how Resident Evil 4, like they basically like, we're gonna take the whole story, we're gonna tweak it a little bit, but you know that this is pretty much a
Yeah.
carbon copy. That's at least the vibe I'm getting.
Super cool.
So I'm amped for
Yeah.
that. I have fingers crossed that they might put in some sort of multiplayer thing because that's like the new. I don't know if that's at all an idea that they have, but
Maybe
like
DLC or something.
something like
Yeah, it
that.
might
I'm
be.
like, we're in the age of everything can be multiplayer. So
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
Nintendo. If it's a DLC that I gotta buy, I'll do it.
Hmm. If Animal Crossing can be multiplayer, Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon can be, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Animal Crossing. Please, can we get a
Mhm.
new DLC?
I know. That game was so interesting. Like I was so like every Animal Crossing has the same like graph for me where it's like I'm insanely into it, and then there's just one day where I don't get blue roses and I'm like, I'm done. forever. I'm not playing
That
again.
sounds like my fiance. He had like aggressive flower gardens, and he dove back into it like a month ago because I was talking about it, and he was like, I got rid of all of my flowers. Nothing matters anymore. And I was like, damn.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Jeez.
awesome. I didn't know about that one either. So that's always cool. I'm always excited to learn about upcoming titles, even though I know nothing about Harvest Moon, but I know of it.
You can always start.
You can always start.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
I'll share mine because I think it's a little bit of the elephant in the room of I am beyond excited for Starfield.
Oh
So
yeah,
that-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
let's
I
talk
was
about that for 2
Fallout.
minutes.
And it became better. Oh, like, to be honest, the first showcase they show, it was awful. That game looks so janky.
Hmm.
But this new one, the latest one, man, that's a good
Got ya.
game. I mean, I'm
Because
all in.
Microsoft got their hands on it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Put some
You better
muscle.
do good.
Yeah.
I was blown away at just the premise of it, is that it's everything that I've been wanting and I'm not even a big Bethesda fan. So like for me, it's exciting for that, because this is gonna be, because I was never like, I'm just not a Bethesda fan. Like Skyrim and Fallout were just never franchises that appealed to me.
Hmm.
But this is the space RPG sim that I've been waiting my whole life for. Like, and there, like No Man's Sky was definitely something that could have been that, but the art style didn't appeal to me and it was a little too slow, and it also was bad in the beginning.
It
was
came out rough.
That No Man's Sky was space Fallout 76 at launch, and then Mass Effect Andromeda could have been something like that, but it wasn't. So like this is, I'm really hopeful, just plus just the 1,000 planets, the ability to go to all these different places and explore space in a photorealistic world. I couldn't be more excited. So it's definitely number one on my list. I would say a couple other big ones that I'm really, 16, I can't wait for that. That's a big one. So 7 Rebirth, I'm really excited for that one. That's another one on that camp. There's just so many really good titles that have been announced or just talked about in the last month.
I don't think it's anytime soon, but I know Hades 2 is like, oh my god. Sign me up
I actually
twice.
have a very weird one to add.
Oh.
So it's weird, but hear me out. You see, I'm a huge Transformers fan, not the movies. The movies suck. I'm a fan of the '84 cartoon. I love everything related to it and the comics. And they announced Transformers Engage? Rebirth or something like it. I don't remember the name. It's one of those really weird names. But it's an incoming game. And my hope for that is that they bring back the old Cybertron games, because those games are amazing. And I just need them. I don't care if they're not remastered. They can just be backwards compatibility. But I need them again in the stores because they're awesome.
Yeah, I agree. That was a sleeper hit. It was Age of Cybertron, I believe was what it was called.
War for Cybertron and
War for
Cybertron.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Oh
yeah, that's Transformers peak right there.
Is the new game that you mentioned, is it going to be in the same? I guess, is it similar to that game, or is it like a?
Well, there has been a few leaks, and it seems like it's a games as a service, which is really bad for me because I don't have very high hopes for that. But the designs look very good. They're very G1 inspired, so let's see how it came out.
Cool, man.
I had no idea how many Transformers games had been made until someone on TikTok asked me to make it. So we have one of our article series, the 5 game series where I pitch video game ideas. It's one of my favorite things to do. And they actually requested me tackle Transformers. And I was like, I've never played a Transformers game. What had they done? And I look at it because I didn't want to like pitch something that had already been done. And I looked up and there's like 87 games. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I had to come up with 5 new ideas. I'm like, there's probably something. And I even put that in. I was like, if this is similar to something that's already been done, I'm sorry. I haven't played any of the hundreds. It's like, apparently, like Transformers and Warhammer, they just put out like 1,000 games a day or something. I don't know. But I'm excited because this is a big AAA, like the one you're talking about looks really cool, very cinematic. I mean, we haven't gotten gameplay yet, but I'm very excited for that one as well. And then also Hades 2, like you mentioned. I was peer pressured into playing Hades by the fact that it was on every list anywhere, and I'm like, I have to play this game. And it was as amazing as they said. So I agree with both of those picks. Any other thoughts?
I was gonna say, I know they haven't put any dates yet, but all of the Silent Hill stuff coming out, I'm a huge Silent Hill fan. I already know they announced the Silent Hill 2 remaster, and if it's anything like, Capcom has been doing, where it's Resident Evil, like if Konami even gives us a crumb of that, I'll take it.
I just really hope this is the rebirth of Konami. Like, they have so many good franchises. Please don't
I
let them
hope
die.
so. There's so many that they just they've ignored. And there's so many, like I was hoping after like Dead by Daylight brought in Pyramid Head, it kind of revived some of the Silent Hill fandom, because the last couple of games put a bad taste in everyone's mouth. So I'm like, please do something with this. And then like the letdowns with like Death Stranding and like the different stuff there was like, we were hoping to get kind of something similar, and it was like, what is this? Wait a minute.
Yeah, actually, in that same vein, the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, hopefully it's great again.
Yeah. So hopefully the rebirth of Konami happens in the next year or two.
That'd be so nice. I'm dating myself, but I remember booting up a cartridge and having that Konami like intro, like that was like, oh, this is a good game. It's gonna be a good game. And somewhere along the lines, it was like, oh no,
not again.
Not again. Oh no.
The amount of games that like I would boot up on PC and I'd be like 10 minutes in and I'm like, I can't open this door for some reason because my arm gets stuck in it. Guess that's the end of this, Kelly Crew.
And we're done. Okay.
That actually inspires. I'm gonna left field here, a new question off the top of my head with let's talk about bad games. I promise not to bring up the one I've already talked about.
Bad games. Okay.
This year, past year, it doesn't have to be this year, but like, what's a game in the last like 2 years that was just terrible? Let's hate for a little bit.
I have a hot take. I know it's a popular game. A lot of people loved it.
Hey, hot takes will just help drive up the views of this video. So just make it more controversial. In fact, whatever it is, let's just put it as like the subtitle with.
Hey, I was trapped on Ragnarok. So
we all hated on Ragnarok. Yeah, make the thumbnail like my face all like angry and then so everyone loved it. If anyone we streamed it live, and I felt so bad because like my friend since grade school suggested it, and I have like I hold his opinion in high regard, and he suggests this game, and I was super stoked. And then like maybe half an hour in, I was like, I fucking hate this game, and it was Hi-Fi Rush. I fucking hated Hi-Fi Rush. Hear me out. So at first, it boots up and I loved it. And it was funny. The quality was super high. The animations were superb. Like, everything was super, super polished. And then the gameplay started happening. And then I was like, wait, I can't. I realized like I likened it to the beat was supposed to be something I was looking forward to, but it felt more restrictive than anything. And at some point in the game, I didn't even think. I literally just kept staring at my buddy. I wasn't even looking at the screen. I was just hitting buttons on beat. And I was getting S rank. And I was like, this game's really good, bro. And he's like, dude, you're just, come on, stop. Like, I couldn't stand that game. So anybody that lost that game, I'm really, really, really sorry. But
that is not what I thought you were gonna say. Like, I was like, I mean,
it's my hot take, baby.
I played a little bit of it, and I'm just like, it's nice, but it's not for me. Like, I get it's pretty, it's well made. Like, I had no qualms about it. Just I wasn't caring for it.
No. If you like it, it's bad, and you should feel bad. It's garbage, and it's a garbage game for garbage people. Okay.
It's not what I was expecting from all the studio acquisitions from Microsoft. Like, I just don't see the point of so many studios right now.
I did not like it. I felt more bad for my friend because he was in stream and he was like all excited for me to play it, and then he could hear my voice. He even typed, he's like, I don't think Eric likes it. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I fucking hate this game. I'm so sorry. But
I need to just clip this section and just upload a separate YouTube video that the tagline is Hi-Fi Rush sucks, and just see how many views it gets.
Yeah. Hey man, what is it? All press is good press. Bring it on.
Yeah.
From the creator who hated Hi-Fi Rush comes Lucid.
I'm already gonna have one for God of Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok sucks too. I got that video already prepped. So
Fantastic. Yes.
they're like, didn't you
Yes.
give that game? It doesn't matter. I'm getting views. Doesn't matter. Uh, any other games that we just thought were just really missed the mark and were terrible?
This is probably a game that, like, unless you're into like horror stuff, you probably didn't hear about it. But the game Madison that came out last year, it was like
Perfect.
super highly acclaimed. It's an indie game, but so many people were talking about it. Like in the horror community, people were like raving about this game, and I absolutely hated it. It like made no sense, like atmosphere wise. I was like, we're in a spooky house and there's an old lady. Like, this sounds like the epitome of creepy horror. And it was just weird. Like, the game jumped between too many storylines that were just so disjointed that I got to a point where I was just like sitting in a bathroom while creepy noises were going on, and I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm over this. And I like power pushed through it just to get to the ending. And then the ending was atrocious. So I was like, why did I bother? Yeah, it was so bad. It had such high potential, and then it didn't. It was just big old flop for one of like the more anticipated horror games of last year. So
I support you in your hate.
thank you. Thank you. I don't know the game you were talking about, but I support you in that.
Thank
too.
you. I appreciate that.
That game was awful.
It was. Thank you. Yeah. See, everyone, we're right. We're right.
For
We're partners
years,
in crime.
for years, I was adamant that we're going to keep everything positive on this page. We're going to support developers.
Positively hating.
I have like
Yeah.
8 different top 10 lists for different things. At the end of the year, we do all these different top 10 lists. And I was adamant for years that I was never going to do a top 10 worst list. And then last year, I just snapped, and I'm like, this year sucks.
And then Jedi Survivor came out. And
No, it was last year. So last year, I broke my rule.
We don't laugh with them. We laugh at them.
Last year had so many things that I snapped. It was like so many bad things came out that I snapped and said, you know what, screw it. We're creating Game Infinite's first top 10 worst lists.
Wow.
And we did it for the first time last year. And because there were just some apps, just every now and then buggy broken launches come out and they're infamous and they fill the news for a few weeks. But it was just seemed like last year just kept dropping over. And this year's been better so far. So I got 2 that I really want to hate on right now. They're both from last year, because this year's definitely doing better. No, I'm not talking about that. Because I'll keep you all here for another hour if we do. So number 1 on this list was a game I just don't understand how it didn't have more controversy. I mean, it got some. I think it was because it came out the same time as Elden Ring, and Elden Ring acted like this, like Jupiter protecting it from all of the news. And this little Earth, and Jupiter comes around, protects it from an asteroid. That's what Elden Ring was, because somehow this game is literally, it's not the worst game I played last year. It's one of the worst games I've ever played. It's terrible. It's garbage. It looks like a first-year intern was working on a side project that the CEO found and thought was one of the real games they're actually making, and pushed the release button. It's terrible. And the fact that this game came out last year and you can't play it right now because it's that bad. And I'm talking about Babylon's Fall. I'm still mad about this game because it's literally one of the worst games I've ever played. It looked terrible. They stole assets from Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Which is something funny.
Yeah.
That game was directed by the same guy that directed Metal Gear Solid Rising.
What?
Such
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. I am convinced of my theory that it was a first-year intern working on a side project, which is why it had stolen assets from some other part of Square Enix, where he's just working on something, and some guy, he was working on his side project while he's supposed to be doing something else, and one of his bosses came up and was like, is that a game we're making? He's like, yeah, boss, haven't you heard of Fall Babylon? And nope, I will, no, it's wrong.
It just slapped his name on there and called it a day.
Yeah, I'm convinced that's what happened.
They just attached the wrong file to like the ship it email, and he's like, oh no.
So bad. Just, it was ugly. Like it hurt the eyes. It was so bad.
I watched a Matt Matt Muscles, the YouTube. I watched a video like it was like an hour long recap of what went wrong, and everything went wrong with that game. Like
Terrible.
holy shit, yeah, it was a
Terrible.
shit show.
Another one that I'm still mad about is, and I really hated on Square Enix last year, and I'm a big Square Enix fan, but they released like 6 just absolute like abysmal piles of garbage.
Yikes.
One of my favorite games of all time is Life is Strange.
Oh.
Absolutely fantastic game.
Oh.
And it's a 10 out of 10 game. It's a top 10 all-time game. If you have not played Life is Strange, it's fantastic. It's beautiful.
Bring some tissues.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
amazing
I'm
story,
playing.
amazing characters.
Interesting. I'm looking it up right now.
But it's
Don't need
fantastic.
'em.
It's one of my all-time favorite games, and I would tell anyone to go play this game, except for what they did with the remaster.
Uh-oh.
This is what
I didn't
I'm
even
mad
know
about.
a remaster came out.
That's the thing. That's the thing. A remaster didn't come out. They just
Oh.
called it that.
Oh,
And they packaged it
What?
for $40.
I thought they were for PS4 and Xbox One, weren't they?
That's the craziest thing, is they put out a remaster, right? And it is in no way, it looks identical. Like
the game's not old enough to need a remaster.
It's not but they said that they remastered it with the newer facial animation tech that they used for True Colors. They put out a remaster.
Gotcha.
And when I tell you that, even if you look up side-by-side videos on YouTube, you cannot tell the difference. They look so painstakingly similar. And that, I mean, it was one of the least like visually distinct remasters I've ever seen. But that's not really where it failed, is the fact that it's not even like a next-gen port. They were PS4 and Xbox One versions. They weren't next-gen versions. So it wasn't like they called it a remaster, but it was just a next generation upgrade where you maybe got better load times and stuff. It wasn't even that. They were still the previous console versions. And that's not even the worst part. Is it wasn't a free upgrade. It wasn't like your current version got a little better.
Jeez.
It was $40. There was no upgrade path. So they're just like, if you want this, it's $40. And it was I wrote an article about this going like, how is this acceptable? How do you call? No, it was terrible. And again, it got hidden, but that came out in the same month as Elden Ring. So Elden Ring shielded, because like every IGN, GameSpot, Kotaku person was busy writing about Elden Ring. There was no one left over to talk about how they just shoveled out a $40 fake remaster over here and put out the worst RPG I've ever seen over here. So those were 2 terrible ones that I just wanted to hit on for a minute. Anyone else? Any other? Okay, I'll wrap this up because I know we're going over time. Any other games we thought were really bad, or a game coming that we're excited about?
Well, I have a bad game. I don't think it's a bad game, but here's the thing. I didn't like High on Life. I just despise it. And in terms of
I haven't played it
mechanics,
yet.
it's fine. It's very by the numbers. You know, it's a shooter. But I can't stand the humor. I never loved
It's the Rick and Morty creators, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very niche.
It gets old really fast.
Really fast.
And I powered through it, and I hated it. I don't know why I did that to myself.
I agree with you 100%, Nico. We started it up, and I'm like, it was like a few chuckles, like okay, and then like what, an hour in, you're like,
yeah, I was like,
shut
please shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Can we? Is there a setting to turn the gun off? Like, oh my god, it was
just
very
meta humor is just not for me anymore. They burn it out so quickly. No more. I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know we've gone a little bit over time, so I want to just preface with our end question of just like, what are some upcoming projects? First off, I want to thank you guys for joining us. But before we wrap up, just any projects that you guys are working on or something that's coming up soon that gamers can look forward to, our audience can look forward to checking out for you guys.
I have a LUCID Kickstarter coming. It's really soon. So
just a little thing, a Kickstarter for a game, just
it's just my life's work is all. It's like hanging on the balance of the support of Kickstarter, and I really hope it does well because Eric likes to eat. Yeah. So yeah,
I really need all 27 people who may end up seeing this video to to go follow this Kickstarter because I'm very excited for this game.
Please. I can't express like it. Every little bit helps. So yes, please. You can go to LUCIDKickstarter.com and just click the little notify, and you'll make me very, very happy, and I'll appreciate it very much. So thank you.
Awesome. Nick, what about you?
Well, right now I'm working on a poster-like illustration to celebrate the launch of Final Fantasy 16. I'm doing my very best on it, so I'm really excited to show it when it's finished, hopefully before the launch. And yeah, be ready for it because
I've seen the preview of it. It is going to be amazing. Definitely follow Nick and check that one out.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of inking, which is really hard in digital.
We'll have to be sure to, in our chat, I need to follow everybody because I want to see that for sure.
Yeah.
I link it up.
I know. I want to check out your game that you keep talking about that I have no idea what it looks like. All I know is the
Yeah,
name. So
I
I'm like,
wanna
what
be a
is
fan.
this game?
Oh my goodness, yes, please.
You had my
for sure.
interest.
I will. I'll shill it out for sure.
It's the best game of 2023. Remember that. That was his answer.
Yeah, it's real good, guys.
I have just actually announced today I'm going to be guesting at a convention on Long Island at the end of August, and it's my first guest appearance of this year, which is really exciting. So I'll be doing that. And I don't know. I have a lot of cons. I'll be going to TwitchCon later, which will be my first time going to Vegas because I've never been there before. So that's like some exciting stuff coming up this year, aside from just like all the other work that I do. But yeah, those are some cool things coming up.
Awesome. Well, once again, I want to thank you all for joining us. This was definitely thank you for taking time out of your busy day to help make this State of Gaming event. I want to, for those of you watching, definitely check out more of Infinite Summer 23. We have developer interviews, we have indie game trailers, we have Lucid's trailer and interview gameplay. That one's really cool. Check that out. And it's just been an awesome event. I want to thank you guys for watching State of Gaming Infinite Summer 23, and we'll see you all on the next Game Infinite video.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy.